And I'm joined now on set by Lithuania's foreign minister, Gabrielius Landsbergis. He was in Kyiv just last week. I'm curious, what was your reaction to what we heard and what we didn't hear from President Putin in his Victory Day speech? Were you expecting him to go farther than he did?
Well, first of all, I would say that if you watch the faces of Mr. Putin himself and the generals that were surrounding him and the politicians that were surrounding him, you definitely do not see, well, smiles of victory that would usually accompany them during these celebrations in the previous years. So I would say that what we're seeing is the generals and the politicians who are losing in Ukraine, and it's written all over their faces.
What did you make of what we just heard from the Ukrainian member of parliament about their push to join the EU? Would the Lithuanian people be supportive of them taking at least another step in that direction as soon as June?
Well, politically, Lithuania was always in the front when it came to supporting Ukraine's membership request to the EU. And to add to that, recently the poll was done. In the whole Europe, and Lithuanian people actually are the first ones to support Ukraine's EU membership.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that throughout our history, we always felt that we're very close. There are a lot of historic events that unite us. To add to that, the fight for freedom is, I can say, that it almost in every Lithuanian's heart. It's very close to us. So every Lithuanian feels now that Ukraine is fighting not just for Ukrainian freedom, but also for our independence, because it's that near. So many of that has to do with empathy that we feel for the Ukrainian people.
You were just in Kyiv on Friday. Talk to me a little bit about what you saw, the conversations you had there, about what you believe they need the most from the rest of the West.
Well, first of all, the thing that struck me most is, even though we've seen the places that were shelled, we see people who are cleaning up, who are gathering shattered glass, who are already starting to rebuild the districts around Kyiv, which were under the heaviest shelling on the first weeks of war. And I think, and to add to that, there's spring in Kyiv, and so it brings that even though the country's at war, even though they have been at war for more than 2 months now, as in nature, spring prevails. And I think that this is what Ukrainian people are showing, that their will to rebuild the country is stronger than the war that they're in. And I think that this is where we can help them, to let them become to start the spring of Ukraine.
Did the Ukrainian officials press you on further sanctions? We know that's been part of the discussions they've had with American officials. They want continuing more robust sanctions packages.
I think that the new sanction package is incredibly important. And unfortunately, we didn't manage to agree on that in Brussels. And I'm still hopeful that we'll manage to do that in upcoming days or maybe weeks. We'll see how that goes. But to add to that, I think what we need to promise to Ukraine, because Ukraine itself is quite dependent on Russian imports, even now during the war. And we need to help Ukraine to decouple itself from the Russian energy sources. That, in a sense, would solve many problems with agreeing on the sanctions, because through Ukraine, oil and gas reaches countries like Hungary, Slovakia, and other countries. So I think helping Ukraine become energy from Russia would solve Europe's problem as well.
Are you confident that Lithuania will be fine with this EU ban on oil from Russia?
Absolutely. We were the first country in Europe to announce that we're absolutely going full independent of Russian oil and gas. And we did that already a month ago. And we use our decisions as an example that it's possible, and the country and the people and the electorate is okay with that.
Talk to me about the idea of what this region looks like after this war. Would you like to see permanent U.S. military presence either in Lithuania, in one of the other Baltic states? I mean, what does NATO, what do the United States need to do to kind of reset whenever this war is over?
Well, first of all, February 24th changed the region, and I would say forever, but up until the point when Putin's regime is in power. So we consider that Russia now clearly showed that this has an aggressive intent to its neighbors. So from our standpoint, it might be just a question of time when Russia, after this war, no matter how it ends, will try and breach another country's border, not excluding even NATO. And we're very close to where the war is taking place. Therefore, we really want to see NATO stepping up with their defense guarantees in the Baltic countries. We're doing our part. We already reached 2.5% in Lithuania of GDP to our defense. That is a considerable amount, for a considerably small economy.
Much smaller country, yeah.
Exactly. So we would like to see our allies stepping up as well. So permanent U.S. presence in Lithuania would be very much appreciated. And I think that would be the right signal to any aggressor who is outside our borders.
All right, Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis, thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time.